Morning, good afternoon, good evening. Zimbabwe is a failed state, and there are many reasons why we are a failed state. And one of those is that we, the people, have failed to govern ourselves. We can blame the leaders, yes, and rightly so, true. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to us, the people. We have failed to hold the leaders to account. The ancient Greeks, who gave humanity democracy as a system of government, a government of the people, by the people, for the people, said that the people must be educated, knowledgeable, objective, and must be diligent in holding those in public office to account. I think as a people, Zimbabweans were failed on all those fronts. Here is a comment that I got from one of the Zimbabweans, a complaint, I should say. I've just gone through 20 items which you sent me the past weeks or so. All of them have got Chamisa /CCC/MDC. It's strange. Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't see what is so strange about it. To start with, I've looked at the items that the individual is referring to here. 5 of the last items, for instance, I sent to him. One of them was talking about we cannot end corruption in Zimbabwe without addressing the issue of rigged elections and bad governance, and only refers to MDC, CCC in passing as the Zanu PF sidekick who have enabled the regime to stay in power these last 24 years. That is factual. So why shouldn't I mention it? The other item was talking about Mnangagwa's new land tenure system, in which he has now decided to give title deeds to those who hold farms, commercial farms, and smallholders. My main objection on that one, on that video, was that these people who are benefiting from this new tenure are the same people who benefited all along from all these other Zanu PF policies. They got those commercial farms, and some of them, they own really big farms, and Mnangagwa himself included. One has got to ask, on what grounds were those farms given to the Zanu PF ruling elite and their cronies? And now we find with this new tenure system, they are being given title deeds. So now they can sell that land, those farms as well. They paid nothing for it. And now they're selling it and making a fortune. Us ordinary mortals, we have got to go and buy, if we want even a 10-acre plot, we've got to buy from these guys at exorbitant prices. And he was heralding it as a great achievement. But my greatest anger with this land tenure, new tenure system, is that it still leaves millions of our rural poor with no hope of ever owning even a few square meters. They are not allowed to own even a few meters of land on which their mud hut stands right now. That was my main concern in that video. But someone is particularly interested in seeing only what they want to see. So they only see criticism of Chamisa. I didn't. But the second point I will make there is that even if all the articles and videos I've written were about Chamisa and no one else, please address the points raised in those articles. I am bringing up relevant issues here. And if you think they are irrelevant, let's discuss them. The idea that I cannot criticize Chamisa is absurd. The idea that I should criticize everybody else if I'm going to criticize the Chamisa is absurd. If you think all those other people deserve criticism equally, then you take it up with them. I'm not stopping you. But the idea that I should not hold Chamisa to account is absurd. And I totally reject that kind of irrational argument. The main reason, of course, why some people are so defensive when it comes to Chamisa is that they genuinely believe that he should never be held to account. The third item is that, like it or not, this Chamisa Chete Chete Brigade is Zimbabwe's only hope of ending this Zanu PF dictatorship. I've stated it on this platform and many others that Zanu PF will never implement any meaningful democratic reforms. And right now we'll be looking at the regime reforming itself. That I believe will never happen. Zanu PF will never reform itself out of office. That is a fact. And as for MDC, Chamisa and Company, they should, or they could have, reformed Zanu PF out of office if they had had the political will to do so a long time ago, during the GNU, when they had the golden opportunity to do that. They failed to implement even one token reform. Not even one. And ever since the GNU of 2008 to 2018, they've been participating in flawed elections out of greed because they wanted a share of the spoils of power that Zanu PF was offering as bait. This is a fact. And it is tragic that some people are refusing to accept such historic facts. It's not helping our situation at all. Here is Margaret Dongo speaking to that very issue of MDC guys failing or participating in these flawed elections out of greed.
Politics is not a business. This is what I want to remind most of.
This simple yet brilliant trick to heat your home in 90 seconds will save thousands of pounds on your heating bill this winter. An ingenious way to heat your home without wasting money is sweeping the market by storm in UK. A clever student from UK, London University, just destroyed the £1 billion heating industry by innovating a device that can warm any space at 90% less cost than conventional heating methods. Jason developed the invention in response to
that. Why are you feeling the pinch? It's because, I didn't believe in corruption. I'm not a selfish person. I'm a selfless person. And I'm like a social worker. Politics is not a business. This is what I want to remind most of our MPs and other people.
Do you think they look at it as a business?
Yes, they look at it as a business. Because they look at it as a business, seriously. Because the moment they go, business and employment creation, because if they go to parliament, you are employed. You get a car, you get a stable salary, and you are paid until your term is over. Already you are employed. If you are out, you're out of employment.
If you serve 2 terms, you get a pension?
You get a pension. Then already, this is why people kill in politics. They kill to be in parliament. This is why we have violence in this country. Because there is no employment. The only employment which is there is in politics. There is no other outside employment. So for them, a very good example is, look at what happened to CCC, the Triple C party. Have a look. When they lost, when they said they were rigged, what I expected from them, I expected all parliamentarians to say, we are not going to go to participate in a rigged system. And we are not going to sit in a rigged parliament. Because the elections have been rigged. So all of us were not going to parliament. Imagine what could have happened. We could have gone into new elections. There's no way Zanu PF was going to rule alone.
You think so?
Yes.
Do they care?
Caring or not caring, the public would have forced them because the majority of the people would want representation in parliament.
So the honest truth is Zanu PF, Triple C, participated in last year's elections out of greed. Even when SADC and the AU had condemned those elections as flawed, Chamisa's Triple C friends went on to take up their seats, claiming that they had won in liberated zones. Of course, that is a nonsense. How can you have liberated zones when the whole voters' roll, for instance, was in shambles? And it was in shambles in urban centers as much as in the rural areas. So in this particular case, Triple C, whether some people out there want to admit it or not, they really have been playing a double game. They have played the role of Zanu PF, Team B, playing to ensure that Team A wins and Team A gets political legitimacy. That is the reality that we've got to admit to ourselves. I come to the fourth point. The fourth point here is that this Chamisa Chete brigade, of whom the individual commenting here would be one of the lot, consider Chamisa to be a demigod who should never be held to account. And when you have got somebody with that kind of mentality, I will be the first one to acknowledge that trying to convince such a person, to reason with such a person, is going to be a tough challenge. It is going to be a tough challenge. Convincing this Chamisa Chete brigade not to participate in the 2028 elections is our only hope of denying Zanu PF political legitimacy in 2028. And yet it's not going to be easy, because whatever Chamisa tells them, these people believe him because they believe he's a demigod. How anyone could consider somebody like Chamisa a mere mortal with a well-documented track record for being corrupt, incompetent, and a liar, a demigod, beggars belief. But that is what we're dealing with here. The challenge ahead is not going to be a walk in the park. Here is a video clip of the BBC reporter taking Chamisa to task on the issue of lying.
Ende patakasangana na Trump akatibvunza naye akomana mari yamuri kuda kuti nyika ifambe imari.
Serious questions were raised about your behaviour in Washington, D.C. You did see some senior people on Capitol Hill, some Congress people, but you also claimed that you'd seen Donald Trump. You claimed you had a conversation with him in which you said he asked you how much you needed to move the country forward. You told him $15 billion, and he said to you that he would provide the money if you won the election. That was not true, was it?
Sangana na Trump akatibvunza naye akomana.
It was not true that you'd seen Donald Trump and that Donald Trump indicated to you that he would provide, if you won the election,
but
$15 billion.
All those statements were said by other people, not what I said.
Well, no, because there is a video which shows you at a rally in January back home in Zimbabwe saying that Donald Trump had pretty much promised you $15 billion. To be clear, because some people in Zimbabwe are still confused, you're now telling me you did not meet Donald Trump.
We did not.
So I reiterate my position. I believe Chamisa is not a demigod, but merely a mortal, and one with a well-documented track record as corrupt, incompetent, and a liar. And for anyone at all to therefore suggest that he should not be held to democratic account is absurd. Zimbabwe cannot afford to have another rigged elections in 2028. We simply cannot afford it. It is absurd that we have allowed this to happen for the last 44 years. We must put an end to it. And put an end to it, we will. Thank you very much, those who were able to join. And I hope we'll meet again on this platform for more discussions. Good night.